Sir Bernard Jenkin.
Mr. Speaker, I thought the Right Honourable Lady gave the game away when, amid all her hyperbole and rhetoric, she betrayed her desire for a much longer delay. That is what the Remain majority in this House really want. And I was rather shocked to hear the Honourable Member for Greenwich and Woolwich say that this measure should be entirely uncontroversial. He might not have been listening, but certainly millions of our voters have been listening, and they were expecting to leave the EU on the 29th of March. And this debate for them comes as a very great disappointment, because this order cancels exit day for the 29th of March. And the way the Council decision was agreed is exactly why people voted to leave the EU, as my Right Honourable friend for Wokingham set out. History will mark this day as the moment that this House decided to start to turn against the decision to leave the EU and against the mandate upon which most MPs in this House were elected. So far, oh yeah, there are exceptions. I'm talking about the 85% of MPs votes that were cast for pro-Brexit parties. And so far, the EU's withdrawal agreement has been rejected for good reason, not least because it is so far from taking back control. One point I agree with the Honourable Member for Edinburgh East over our laws, borders and trade. And in fact, if this goes through, that next time the Minister brings an order to this House to implement an EU directive or a decision or a regulation, there will probably have been no Minister sitting at the table in Brussels to agree that decision or even to be there to be outvoted. It will just be handed down through the withdrawal agreement. Now, Mr. Speaker, I've never considered myself a populist or a man of the people. But it is only those like me who will vote against this decision to cancel leaving the EU on the 29th of March who are truly representing what the British people decided in the referendum. We are the real majority in this House, which are so sorely underrepresented by members of this House. I'm going to press on. But this House is now embarked on an unprincipled. This House is now embarked upon an unprincipled constitutional experiment. PACAC, the committee I chair, recently heard from a retired Lord Chief Justice that nothing like this experiment has occurred since the recasting of the role of Parliament since 1688. That is just how radical this experiment is. And I very much recognise the sincerity of many honourable and right honourable members who are involved with that experiment, but they have resorted to the most questionable constitutional methods which leave no government or anyone else accountable for what is being decided. Who will the voters now hold to account for the outcome of the Brexit question? Moreover, this process has been supported by those either embarking upon embellishing the discredited withdrawal agreement with even greater restrictions on our right of national democratic self-determination, or seeking to disrupt or stop Brexit altogether, in defiance of the election promises upon which most of us were elected. I regret, therefore, to conclude on these matters, and including on this order, this House of Commons is left with questionable democratic legitimacy. I give way to my right honourable